Well, good evening everyone. This is Mike from Chef Greycat's Kitchen, and I'm glad you're joining me. Today we're making my version of Italian meatballs. I kind of stole this recipe and made a couple of modifications from a guy named Chet, who when I was 15, he was 21 years old, working at Pasquale's Pizzeria and Restaurant. And 3 nights a week he'd have the 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift, and he worked alone unless it was a Friday or Saturday, and he'd have a waitress. But as a kid I used to hang out there at the pizzeria, me and my friends, and then I started volunteering my dishwashing capabilities to him, and he was very happy to accept them. And so I basically stole his recipes and just watched how he did them. Anyway, I've got my ingredients here, all pre-measured, pre-prepped, and I'm going to tell you what those are. I'll also include them with the recipe in the description part of this YouTube video. Now I'll start off. I've got 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and I'm going to move that to the side. 1 egg brought to room temperature. Okay, here we have onion powder, and that is 1 teaspoon. Here we have ricotta cheese, and that's 1/4 cup. We have breadcrumbs seasoned, and this is 1/4 cup. Half a bunch of parsley. I'll leave it there because they're all over the place. And we have about 1 cup here, once I put it through the food processor, of this is Italian bread, but you can use 4 slices of white bread trimmed of the crust. I just trimmed the crust off of an Italian bread, and I'm going to put this into the food processor along with the parsley and our cheeses. So anyway, 1 cup of white bread, no crust, 3/4 cups hot water, warm to hot, and then we have 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of sugar, or no, not sugar, salt. S-A-L-T, salt. Definitely no sugar in this recipe, so forget that. Alright, and garlic powder, 1 teaspoon. And here is 1/2 cup of grated Asiago cheese. It looks like a lot more, but there's a lot of air in between this. And the same thing with our grated Pecorino Romano cheese. We have that here, another 1/2 cup. So we've got a total of 1 cup of cheese, and actually 1 1/4 with the ricotta. And then we've got 1 pound of ground pork, 1 pound of 80/20 lean ground beef. The original recipe, Chet used to use 1/2 pound of ground pork and 1/2 pound of ground veal. The problem is veal is so expensive I don't even go near it, especially to grind it up and use it in meatballs with 2 other meats. If I'm going to do veal, I'll do a veal scallopini, a veal marsala, some other veal dish for you, but I'm not going to waste it in meatballs. So 1 pound of ground pork, 1 pound of lean 80/20 ground beef, and those are your ingredients. Alright, I'm going to shut the camera off. What I'm going to do is combine my water, 3/4 a cup, with the egg, and in the food processor I'm going to put the ingredients that I'm going to chop up, which will be the parsley. We're going to put the cheeses back into that also. We're going to put the bread, and we'll put that in the food processor, and then we'll add our breadcrumbs, and we'll add the pepper, and we will add the salt, garlic, and other spices so that they're all combined in the dry ingredients. The egg will be whisked with the hot water and the ricotta cheese. And this way I can get an even distribution when I mix everything together. So, I'm going to say goodbye for now. I will prep everything and then we'll get back to cooking. Okay, what we have right now is the parsley and that big chunk of Italian bread that I sliced the crust off of. And again, you can use 4 slices of sandwich bread or what have you. Works to about a cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to process these 2 items first. Okay, and I think you'll be able to see the consistency in this. Oh, must be the mailman because the dog's running to the door. Strange thing about her is every time she hears Alexa say there is motion detected at the front door, she now gets up and runs to the front door. So she understands English, she understands Alexa. Alright. Now, what we're going to add is our pepper, Asiago cheese, Parmesan, garlic, onion powder, nutmeg, and last but not least, our salt. And again, we're going to turn this basically into a real light and fluffy, well minced mixture. And it's nice and finely chopped, as you can see. So we'll move that to the side, and now I'm going to add the water to our egg and our ricotta cheese, and we're going to whisk those together. And let me move that aside so you can see that. There we have our 1/4 cup of ricotta cheese, and we have our 1 egg that was brought to room temperature. And thank gosh I've got a lot of whisks because 2 are in the dishwasher. And it's nice to be back cooking with you. I apologize for not being on air and doing videos and things like that, but I felt it more important to visit with my friend Dave while he was in Peace Place hospice, and it was kind of strange that he was in the same room that my wife passed away, and that was upsetting, but it is what it is, and life gets a little crazy sometimes. So anyway, our water, our egg, and our ricotta cheese is now well combined. And what we're going to do now is take our dry mixture, and we will dump that on top of our 1 pound of 80-20 ground beef and our 1 pound of ground pork. Okay, I got just about everything out of there. So our meatballs have, our meatball mixture has the seasonings now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a moment to glove up, and then we'll add our liquid mixture and combine it. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, I'm gloved up and ready. So, first thing we're going to do is just give this a stir around and break up the meat. And if you've got one of these nice little forks, and you'll notice that I'm using this is a powder-free clear vinyl glove, kind of made for food institutions, and it just, you know, this is a messy job if you're going to roll meatballs by hand and you're going to combine things by hand. I just don't like washing my hands every 2 minutes because they're all greasy from the meat fat. So what I do is I use this 2-pronged fork, and you can get these basically anywhere. I think I got this one for $4 a couple of years ago on Amazon Prime. And now that I've busted up the meat, I try to, you know, make it as incorporated with the breadcrumbs and the cheeses and the salt, pepper, and the nutmeg. And okay, we're looking pretty good here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to pour in our water, our egg, and our ricotta cheese. This goes to the kitchen sink. Put some water in so it doesn't harden up. Okay, enough of that. Now let's get back to mixing. And again, you can do this with your hands, but what you're trying to achieve here is basically you don't want to compact the meat. If you compact it, then you're going to have a meatball that's tough to chew, and you know, you want your meatballs nice and soft, and when you bite into them you got all that meaty flavor and that wonderful cheeses, and they cook up better too if you keep them loose. So I'm not even bothering to do this by hand, I'm just doing this with the fork. The fork's doing pretty good because our liquid makes it easier to combine everything. And you may say to yourself, well, it looks like it's a little thin, but it's not. These are going to fry up beautifully, or you can bake them. Now, I'm going to show you a hack in just a minute that while my older brother doesn't have my meatball recipe unless he watches this video, I have watched him make meatballs, and it must have been about 12 years ago. We had a family reunion where it was hosted at his house, and he decided to make meatballs, ziti. He does make a great baked ziti, but he made probably 15 pounds of meatballs, and I'm going to show you how he did it. Okay, our mixture is actually ready to be rolled, but I'm going to go get that what's needed to show you that hack, and then I'll be back. We'll roll a few meatballs and I'll show you the size, and then basically there's the recipe. You can fry them in an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of A couple tablespoons of olive oil, a couple tablespoons of vegetable oil, and just keep turning them till they're browned lightly on all sides. And then you just add them to your sauce, or my sauce. But anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, as you see in front of you, we've got a Pyrex baking dish. And what my brother Richie would do is, since he had so many meatballs to make and he wanted to you know, make sure there were enough, but he didn't want to spend 6 days rolling meatballs, he would take the mixture, put it in the pan here after spraying it with some non-stick spray, and then he'd level it out when it was about 1.5 inches high. Bake it in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes at 350 degrees. All the oil will come up around the sides and the top, and then he would drain it off. And then he would basically take a spatula, and we didn't have round meatballs, we had square balls. And just cut it like that, and he would go and cut it, and he would keep cutting it, and then come this way till he had the size he desired, and then drop them in his sauce or whatever dish he was using them for. Now, we being Americans, you don't have to roll them, you can bake them this way. And once you've got this, it's, you know, you're there. All you have to do is cut them into the size you want, the squares, and drop them in your sauce, because they're going to finish their cooking off in the sauce. And so that's the hack that I learned, and I watched 15 pounds of meatballs go into about 4 very large of these baking dishes, and basically it took about an hour, 2 dishes at a time to bake them, and then cut them up and drop them into the 2.5 gallons of sauce that he had made, and away they go. So anyway, that's the trick if you don't like rolling meatballs and you think it's a pain in the behind. That's the easy way to do it. And since I believe, oh yeah, good old White Castle makes square burgers, so why can't we make square meatballs? Alright, I'm going to come back in a moment and show you the size. And the rolling technique I use is nothing special. It's basically picking some meat up and rolling it to size, and then, like I said, you'll fry it. Okay, or bake it. You can bake meatballs round or in a glass dish, but either way it works. They cook, and that's what we're looking to do. Okay, I rolled 5 of these meatballs. Didn't get to talk to you because I didn't press the button on the camera hard enough. So, I'm going to put on a new pair of gloves. And again, these are powder-free vinyl gloves used in food service. And they just make it so much easier to, you know, accomplish the terribly straining task of making meatballs. But you know, it can be tedious. Like I showed you earlier on, you know, my brother's hack for making a bunch of meatballs is actually pretty good if you don't mind that they're square. So we take enough meat to make about a 2-inch meatball. If you're going to do the pan fry, you put about 1/8 to a little bit more. I use a 50-50 olive oil and vegetable oil. And then I fry them, making sure they're browned on all sides. Keep turning them, keep watching them. Takes about 10 minutes or so to fry them, a medium to medium-low heat once your oil's heated up. And then if you're going to do them in the oven, you can do round, or you can do the baking sheet type of thing that my brother does that I showed you earlier. And 350 degrees, If you're doing the meatballs, you can do them 20 to 25 minutes. If you're doing them in a glass Pyrex pan or something like that as a sheet, and then going to cut them up later, you want to go 350 degrees for probably about 25 to 30 minutes. And just take a look at them. Make sure that, you know, they're browned on top. You don't want to overcook them. Make sure if you're putting your meatballs, the real round ones, on a tray and you're going to bake them, make sure the tray has a lip, because you're going to get all the oil run off and you don't want that all over your beautiful oven. So anyway, you can see the size I've made them. They are going to shrink down as they cook, and that'll give you about a 1.5 to 1 3/4 inch meatball. Once they're cooked, drop them into the sauce that is also listed here on my YouTube channel, and I've shown you how to make that, and that's a sauce with McCormick's. I did get lucky the other day. I got some McCormick's spaghetti sauce mix. In fact, I bought 10 packets, which was all they had left. And then I got a notification yesterday that they had McCormick's back in, and I tried to place an order from my phone for you know, another 10, just so I've got a backup, and it said sold out. So within 30 minutes, or I don't know how long a delay it was for the email, they had sold out of the McCormick's spaghetti sauce mix. But keep an eye out for it. McCormick's has changed the packaging to kind of a green motif. I will bring one out and show it to you right here. This is what it looks like now. It used to be a red motif. So when you go to Walmart or your favorite grocer, you're going to look for this package. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I love you all, and you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and know that I love every one of you. Thank you. Alright, one last thing I forgot to tell you. I got my new gas range, and I'll tell you, cooking with gas is, oh, it's just, I love it. I've always hated the darn electric thing. Now I have 4 burners that actually work, and a center griddle. Man, isn't that the cat's paw. Anyway, self-cleaning, timers, everything. I'm going to have to get an engineering degree to figure out how all the different things work. But anyway, I wanted to show you all. Real proud of it. I want to thank my grandsons for helping me install it and gas pipe the house. And yes, I am certified in CSST, which is corrugated stainless steel gas piping. And so it was all done to code. Alright, love you all. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.